Girl, you the band, and she love me when I'm in it, and she never be pretending. Nothing that's real. She gon' tell you what she bought it. Cause she know you.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. This is your girl, Camille Cower. You're watching the E-Spot with Camille. I cannot wait for you guys to meet my guest today. I have a full house, and I mean that in figuratively because we literally are using all the boxes today. So one by one, I'm bringing them in. I think I'm bringing them in alphabetically. Yes, I'll do that. So first I have Elaine Williams entering the live. Thank you so much for joining me. Now we have Kathy Keegan joining the live. Can't wait.
Kathy. Trying to match my picture. It's the other way.
I love it. And then last but not least, of course, we're having Sheridan.
Woo!
I meant
the
yeah,
designer, amazing writer.
Yay! It's an all-women's edition of the E-Spot. And I have 3. This is my first having 3 women at one time.
Sexy.
Can I handle it? Let's see what happens. It is the E-Spot. So let's start alphabetically. No, we'll go backwards in alphabetical this way. So Sheridan can start off since I didn't get the chance to really introduce you too much with my promos and everything for this week. So tell me a little bit about yourself and how you came across these other ladies on the Hollywood squares.
Yes, the Hollywood squares. So I'm in the Bay Area now, San Francisco Bay Area. I was a comedian in New York for several years. I did comedy, and that's where I met the amazing Elaine Williams. And we worked on comedy and done shows together and known all the same people. We were even in the same dorm in Austin a million years ago. And then more recently, I met the amazing Kathy Keegan, and we have comedy writing sessions and laughing sessions and promos and all sorts of amazing stuff. So we've just had a blast and super great partners. So these two are amazing. So thanks for having us, Camille.
No, it's my pleasure. Now, Kathy, tell everyone a little bit about yourself and how you came across all these beautiful, talented, and funny ladies.
Well, Elaine and I met through a networking group. We actually joined the networking group on the exact same day. And so she called me up. She said, "Oh my God, you joined my networking group." And we just started talking to each other, and we kept laughing when we talked to each other. And then we realized we had done a ton of both comedy, self-help, other professional type things. And we just said, let's try to turn that into a podcast. And then what happened was, as I was trying to get more comfortable with that, I met Sheridan. And we would brainstorm together. So what I want to say for those guys is that they made comedy safe for me again.
Breaking up. It froze for a moment.
Back. They made comedy safe again for me.
For me, you broke up for a minute, so I didn't hear what happened before they made comedy safe for you.
I think it was at the networking group. Uh-oh, you know what? It's after 5 p.m. here in Chicago, and you know what that means? My brain can only handle rote activities. Elaine started this group and said, look, you got to meet Sheridan. And so we just we hit it off. You know how it is when you just hit it off with somebody, and it's just perfect. Yeah, and you just, and you keep creating and you riff off each other.
Yeah. And
you just keep giving each other more and more. And it just feels totally safe. So you can just be stupid when you need to be. Because that's how you get the stuff out. You got to make the mistakes to get the good stuff.
Absolutely. Now, how about with you, Elaine, since you seem to be kind of, I don't want to say puppet master because that sounds like you were playing with them, but you were the ringmaster that kind of brought everybody together. So what was your game plan in your head when you were like, ooh, this person, that person, let's make it happen? What was your, how did you make that recipe?
Camille, because for whatever reason, I couldn't hear what they were saying. So I'm like, I have no idea. So, well, I just knew, I just love to connect people. Like my friend Esta was like, oh my God, you have to meet Elaine. And that's how you and I met. I love to connect people. And I don't have a plan. That's my problem. I'm just a very spontaneous in the moment. I don't know. I feel like I just get intuitive hits that people should work together. I'm so happy because Sheridan and I helped each other in New York years ago, and then we reconnected, and it's been so joyful and so fun. And she's really helped me with some of my biggest challenges as a writer and with my delivery. And then Kathy, I just kept cracking up when we started working together, and we would just laugh the whole. I'm supposed to be coaching her on her story, and like we just kept laughing, and finally we both were like, I think this is supposed to be a podcast. So it's just really kind of organically morphed, which always seems to be better for me. When I try to force things and push things, they blow up in my face, in my experience. So it's been joyful with these two.
Yeah.
That's so
You
cool.
two, Elaine and Kathy.
Yeah.
Ditto. I love the love fest, and I love that you guys are all women that work in the same industry, and instead of thinking of each other as competitors or even that whole tired like storyline where there's only one available, there's only one slot, and you guys made a point of like, not only am I going to start this podcast, but I'm going to help other women as well. And just, I love that. I love that you guys did that. And you made a point of not making it a competition between each other. You guys work as a network to help each other and build a business together, especially having met in such, like, it could have been very easily like, I don't know if I trust you. What if you try to take all the jobs I'm going out for? Or, you know what I mean? Like there's,
Well, when Sheridan and I first met, we were both like, we kind of wanted to be comedy buddies, but we both had some insane experiences with other female comedians. So we both were like, let's try it. Like we both were just, because it had been
true.
I mean, this one person, I like bent over backwards. I'm sure I was codependent, but like I gave her my agent, my manager, my therapist. I took her to Toast. Like I did so much. And then when I found out that she was finding out about auditions and not telling me,
on tonight's episode.
But I'm grateful because I learned that there are people like that in the comedy business, you know. And it was a painful lesson, but I got it early.
And those are the ones I always appreciate, that it happens fast, or like if it's a bad friendship, bad relationship, whatever it may be, or even job for that matter. Do it. Hurry up and show me your evil side right away, so I know what I'm getting myself into, whether I want to stay. I like quick failures because you quickly learn the lesson and move on to whatever is meant to be. The lesson is learned. And I use the word failure like that because you learn from those.
No, I'm like, I'm seeing t-shirts. I'm seeing baby doll t-shirts. Quick failures. Fail fast. Just fail. Right?
Wait, baby shirts though.
Can we do all about Eve?
I meant like baby dolls. Like
I could just see that being the perfect Mother's Day gift.
Right.
Quick failure, your daughter or your son.
Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Yes. Absolutely.
Get hate mail from this episode. No, I meant like baby dolls, like those t-shirts for women.
No, I get it. No, it's funny. It was funny. You're a comedian. That's what you guys do. The inappropriate stuff make it funny, right? So I love it. No,
but
please.
It's how you really cross. She's such a good writer, and she'll be like, okay, go for the higher joke, go for the higher vibration. Don't, like sexual stuff is easy. But like, how else can, dirty stuff is easy, but how else can you get the laugh?
Yeah. So Elaine, can you hear the other guests or just me?
No, I can just hear you.
Okay.
Okay. So should we raise our hand when it's time to talk?
No. So this has happened before, and I didn't know to the end of the episode that it was happening. So just for that reason, I'm going to make sure I ask Elaine the questions first, so she doesn't end up cutting you guys off or repeating the same thing, possibly, if that makes sense. So I just want to go ahead and let that be known. Elaine gets to answer all the questions first, just for that reason, because last time he kept cutting the guy off. It was very unfortunate. He kept cutting him off when I would say his name for the question and had no idea. So anyway, Elaine, I want to talk to you about starting in comedy. Like, how did you get your start, and what advice would you give for people just getting started as well?
Wow, that's a great question, Camille. I was terrified, and people kept saying, you're really funny. You're really funny. And I was newly sober and new in New York City. So can you imagine going from like Austin, this, sweet little, I was a big fish in a little pond, and then come to New York. It was it was hard, but people kept saying, you're so funny.
Yeah.
But it's really different learning to be funny on demand. So I would say, study with a good teacher and watch good comedians, because when you're new, you have a tendency to go to a bunch of open mics. So you're surrounded with not great comedians and you learn bad habits. And so you want to make sure that you're studying people who are really, amazing. And, Richard Pryor, before he burned himself up, I think he was just a comedic genius. Robin Williams he stole a lot of material, but he was amazing. There's just so many great ones. Wanda Sykes, Carol Burnett.
Apparently we're related, just so you know. Me and Wanda Sykes. Allegedly. I'm just saying, Ancestry.com said she's my third cousin.
I love Wanda Sykes.
I mean, it must be true because it was online, right? Nobody else is named Wanda Sykes on Ancestry.com, I'm sure.
No.
She's the one. That's right. That could be your big break if you're going to go into comedy.
Could be why I'm funny. Just kidding.
No, I mean, comedy is so fun and it's so hard, and you have to really love it. And if you're just doing it to try to get rich or famous, that can be a very painful journey. But if you do it because you love it and you love connecting with people and making fun of yourself and humanity, oh my God, it's so fun when it's going well.
Yeah. Okay. So, Kathy, how about for you? How did you get your start in comedy? And
so I come from an improv background.
Okay.
And one of the reasons I started doing improv comedy was because I couldn't do anything unscripted. And I needed to learn how to be more off the cuff. And it taught me a lot of things that helped me when I wasn't able to make money as a comedian then, and went back into the corporate world and had a great career leading teams, because that's what it's all about, the improv part of it. And it was just one of the most wonderful experiences, because for me, I'm a singer also, and our signature was this musical. And you would just give us maybe a date or a place and time, and we would just create an entire musical from scratch, and we would call in different musical styles, and it was really fun. And then over the years, when you work in corporate America, really great material for comedy, really great material. And so because you just can't believe that this is actually, happening. There was a guy who came one day and asked me from the door to my office. And I just looked at him and I was like, "You want my door?" And he said, "Yeah," because we had this really fancy, area for the clients. And I was in that area and I had an office, and he had just gotten this huge office, but it wasn't as pretty because it was a behind the scenes office. So he wanted to know if he could have my door, but it's just, you kind of, and I just said, "Fine. Yeah, sure. Go ahead, take it. Just bring one back." And I knew he would never get my door. But anyway, it's just, it's crazy things like that. The way people misinterpret things, the way we take things personally, and we think there's not enough. You were talking about the scarcity before, the whole idea that in some places it really is scarce. Yeah. But in other places it's not. And that's the thing that we realize with the three of us when we get together. And then Elaine and I, it's like, there's space for Elaine. There's space for everybody for us to do what we do. And we're the better for it. The more Elaine gets to be Elaine and Sheridan gets to be Sheridan, oh my God, it's richer and better.
No, and I mean, clearly, corporate world is hilarious because there's a lot of movies and TV shows based on it too. Which at first I was like, who wants to watch a show about work? Oh, I do, and clearly because this is hilarious. Yeah, Office Space was one of my favorites.
So good.
The stapler, still hilarious, right? So now, how about for you, Sheridan? How did you get your start, and what is your advice for newbies in the comedy world?
Well, I was thinking about, my advice is really, like Elaine said, you study people that are really good. And I think what's really important too, and what sort of makes that sort of organically happen, is to have something to say. What do you really want to say? What's your message? Do you have a social take? Is there something you want to really get across instead of just being funny? Right. So what is it, about your life or your family or something you want to share? And I do think, like, when I look at different comedians that really have a message. Like I love Trevor Noah is amazing. Just super cool and easy, but you can tell there's something more in there than sort of late night, let's make a gag. I think that's super cool. Of course, I love Wanda Sykes, and I swear she's on top of my list even before you said that.
No, because I was like, because they're not naming enough women.
Oh my God, and you know what? I saw her when actually she was married years ago to the guy in New York, and you could hear it, Caroline's, you could hear a pin drop in that audience. She was so good. Her timing was beautiful. I mean, she really, really was magical. Of course she is now, but she's, doing so many other things. Amy Schumer, I love, just because I think she really tells women, you can be yourself. You can be pregnant. You can send out a picture of the tummy and it's all not so beautiful all the time. And she doesn't care. And that sends a message that what you have to say is important, and especially as women. And having said that, and you're not going to believe this last one, Cat Williams. Okay. I'm not going to say that he's like, but if you listen to what he's saying, there are really good jokes there, and it's classic joke format. The language in it is it's hard to get past. But like the one about the tiger in the cage that ate the guy, and they're like, they're blaming the tiger. The tiger's sitting there all day saying, I finally get to be a tiger. Whoa, I missed being a tiger. It's like really good. And so that's what I say is look beyond the obvious, the laugh, yes, of course, late night, the dick joke, the whatever is going to be funny. And you pick and choose, but you want your set and your name and everything you produce to say something.
Right.
So, and it's even funnier because then it's really you. It's like, what if you're doing like the sort of C material just to get a laugh and then you don't? You're like, what am I even doing? So it's super cool. And the way I started was fun. I always loved comedy. I was kind of the shy one when I was little, but I would make the joke with the group in the back of class.
Yeah.
And then the teacher would, point us out and think it was the big guy that was making the joke. So I'm kind of that one that's been hiding. And I had a friend whose husband said, let's do a stand-up workshop. They got divorced. He was, ended up selling Amway or something. And I did comedy and I never looked back. I went up there and I'm like, and the idea of memorizing it, a lot of people can't get past that. And you have the A jokes and you have the set you always do. And then you add the new stuff. So you do the good stuff in the beginning and the good stuff at the end. You add the newer stuff in the beginning. So you don't end on some big failure, or something that didn't work, whatever.
Yeah.
But the format helps you instead of it being a hindrance. Yes, there are the Robin Williams who can just go off and be amazing every time. I did a show with him. I opened for him in California at the Throckmorton.
Oh.
And he was a sort of a surprise headliner. And people were like leaving and they literally ran back to their seats. Of course, he did 45 minutes to people screaming and laughing. And I'm telling you, in Northern California, there's not a lot of screaming and laughing. Like it's not like New York.
I've been there.
Right? Yeah, you lived there. So anyway, and at the end, it was great because he sort of came late and went on. And I went back into the green room and he was in there all alone. And I'm like, oh, do you want me to he's like, that joke in the beginning, it just bombed. It bombed. I'm so worried. And I'm like, oh my God, they screamed with love and laughter and for 45 minutes, but he was stuck on this one. And he's like, Louis C.K. said it was really good. I should keep doing it. And I was like, well, if you and Louis C.K. think you should keep doing it, then you should. Then Sheridan agrees. But he was so sweet. He was so worried, and he'd done so well. It's tragic, right? Because that's kind of his story.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a blast. And my best memories of really my whole life are things that happened in comedy. There's nothing like it.
Yeah. So Elaine, like we were talking a little bit about different icons earlier. And so I'm curious for you, have you ever got the chance to work with any of your icons or comedy icons? And what was that experience like?
I have have not gotten to work with my dreams. You know, to me, Goldie Hawn,
I met her.
Lily Tomlin. You met Goldie Hawn?
I did. I'll have to tell the story after you finish.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Phyllis Diller. There's so many. Obviously, she's dead. But yeah, I mean, I haven't gotten to do that yet. But you know, you never give up. And I'm actually, you know, doing more creative projects now than ever because I have more energy. I used to wait tables and it was crazy, you know, just, you know, the New York City running around auditioning. Can you be in the city in an hour? And you're like, oh my God, you know.
Can't even imagine doing film in New York City. Like when I lived in New York City, thankfully my father was the movie producer. My mom was the stunt woman. So I was just running with them. I never really had to do the auditions, going back and forth all over the place. Cause a lot of times my mom was like, nah, not worth it. Not like she did the Naomi Campbell stuff for me. It's like, yeah, we're not traveling that far for that.
I wish I had somebody like that.
As you know, when I was on my own, I kind of still have that thing. Like, I'm not driving that far for that.
Yeah. No, well, you know, when you're a new comedian, I would drive 2 hours to Connecticut for 5 minutes of stage time. That's how committed I was. You know, because you're just dying for stage time. You know.
Yeah, I mean, so the Goldie Hawn story. I was actually working as an extra on a film, and her son was one of the main characters. So she came to visit him. While, of course, who doesn't love Goldie Hawn? She was she wore almost the exact same outfit she wore in First Wives Club with the all white suit type outfit. And she was just dancing around whenever they would have music playing or whatever. She would dance just like Goldie Hawn normally dances. And she was just very down to earth. So my good friends and I, they're twin boys, we were all working together, and we always brought a camera with us because we would take pictures offset, not necessarily of, like, we have maybe 2 pictures with any of the other stars in the movie. Like, we didn't care about them. It was more for us type of thing, like just taking pictures of the fun that we were having and stuff. But so we got it in our head to try to get a picture with her, and we took a tour in the house, and we didn't know you'd be in here type of situation. Got the chance to talk with her, asked if led with the twin thing, of course. Hey, can we get a picture of you with the twins?
Nice.
Took that, and then they took the picture for me so I could get that. And since they were twins, during lunch, one of them went to the Photoshop place and got it printed, while the other one was pretending to be both, basically during lunch, whatever, because you can't leave set once you're on set. So we got it printed, because this is back in the day where you had to get film, and we got her to autograph it for us.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So it was a really cool experience.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, she just seems like the real deal. I love her. So.
And she was just seeing her with her kids too. Well, it was just her one son, but just seeing how she was such a protective mom, but still stood away, like let him have his shine. Because we were there pretty much every day since filming started. She only came to set once, so kind of lucky that. We got the photos printed that day because we wouldn't have seen her again. But I thought it was really cool that she did that. So yeah,
that's very cool.
Yeah, we had fun. So now, Kathy, how about you? Have you ever gotten a chance to work with any of your comedic icons or open for?
Well, I'm going to say that Elaine and Sheridan are my comedic icons. No, I haven't done, because most of the comedy I've done has been group comedy.
Okay.
So it's always been kind of working in teams. But what these guys have helped me do is revive that. That's why I say when, to be able to be in a place where you can just create and do so just openly and understand that everybody's there to lift you up and give you the kind of, it's not criticism as much as something that helps you get better and better. Right. And one of the things I found too is, over the years, I started to make myself work with, not in comedy, but in other areas, with more well-known or famous people, because I wanted to find out about that Robin Williams moment like you had, where he's at the end and he's just like, oh, that did not go well. Because what is that? That's the mastery. That's what the craft is all about. It doesn't matter, who is it? Oprah says that at the end of every single one of her interviews, people will say, was I okay? Or was it okay? Or did I do okay? Every single one of them. And so the reason for our podcast, Still Human, is because we want to understand those elements, because there are people, if Goldie Hawn were on my set, I wouldn't be able to, I would be so aware, and I would be trying to think of ways that I could get her to see like what a great person I was. You know what I mean? Like it's like this weird energy. Yeah. And at the same time, she's a mom visiting her son.
Yeah.
Right?
Very still human. Yeah. How about with, well, you started it actually with Robin Williams being the icon that you got to open with. Was there ever any other situations like that, or?
That was the main one. I mean, I met some, kind of famous people that like I met Tom Hanks once, and he was just adorable. And I'm in Steve Martin, and but not so much in the
walk over Steve Martin.
Yeah. Well, I met him sort of out of context, but in public. But I, just those people, just truly funny and genuine. And this idea that, and I think even Seinfeld said, you can, as a stand-up, you're only as good as your performance that night. So, right, as a singer, you can go on and, sorry, Kathy, maybe it's not true, but you can. Things can happen, but when you're in that moment, no matter who you are, you're Seinfeld, you're Woody Allen, if they're not laughing, you either get a check or a minus,
right?
In that moment. So, and you remember those really painful ones, but it's a great experience. And I do think, like what Kathy was saying, that commitment to excellence. Like I've had some jokes that I've worked on for years, and I'm like, and you just have to feel it. Like it's not quite right. It's not. It could be better. It's an A. We give grades. It's an A-. It should be an A+. Why isn't it an A+? And that's where we all come in, and we're like, well, let's help you with that. I don't know. Or sometimes you do like, you'll do like a overweight joke, and you don't seem, and they're just like dead silence. Of course, that's a flattering dead silence. There are many more less flattering dead silences. I picked the most flattering one. I thought it would be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, just that, God, this should be working, or the heckling, right? That takes some talent, some luck, and to judge what their intent is, right? Because you don't want to shut them down immediately and turn the whole audience against you. You were being nice to that woman who had too many drinks. That's why she's here. Or you were being mean to that woman. That's why she's here. She's trying to help you, So it's the whole, right? You're like, hate me now.
I could
trying to just judge in that moment what the situation is. How can I, what do I do? There's like, and the great thing about it, it's like, it's where the science and the art meet. There's a way to handle it. And people have done this before you. And first you just say something. First you just try to discern if everyone can hear them. Because if they can't, then it's just your problem and you don't have to address it. If they're disrupting other people, then the friendly whatever, hey, glad you're having your, bachelor party. And so then, hey, great. Then if they start pissing other people off, then you have to shut them down, but not too harshly. So it's like a whole, but I love it because it is kind of like a science and and it can be a real win because there are YouTube videos all over of people who have hecklers in the audience, how they deal with them. So it's kind of a great lesson in life and fantastic. So
yeah, and I always wonder how they get video of that because you're not allowed to take video at most comedy shows. Sometimes it seems staged when they have it because you're like, wait, how do they get video of it?
You can usually tell by the look on the comic's face. Okay. Are they really pissed? You'll know.
There's a moment in the Joan Rivers documentary where somebody really heckles her and she takes him to task. And it's amazing. It's just an amazing moment of you can just see. And of course, when you see her documentary, she had that big, huge wall of index cards.
Like a library.
All those jokes.
Yeah.
And again, it's always top of mind. You're just looking at something and saying, what's odd about this situation? What's funny about this situation? And sometimes it's even the absence of something. it's like, we know if it's a weight joke or something, maybe you don't even need to add the extra words. Sometimes we add 3 extra words that we don't even need to add.
Right. Now, there's someone that actually agreed with you, Rob Douglas, in the comments saying, yes, corporate America can provide such great material.
I mean, The Office is is fairly real.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, I can't really show comments this time because it looks like a censor mark on your face. So I'll just say them from here on out, because Rhonda Marie also was saying good point with as far as dealing with hecklers and so on. But now, so many people that might be interested in getting into comedy or even acting or singing, there's a lot of rejection. There's a lot of things that are within your control and things that aren't in your control. I'm curious what you guys suggest. Excuse me, I need to stop saying guys. Like, I'm trying so hard to find gender neutral things to say, and guys just won't leave my Rolodex.
Hey, how about yous?
Maybe you could say y'all.
No, Pittsburgh.
Okay. Maybe not.
I heard was a good one, but it just feels weird because it's like, I don't know. I always think
We're okay. We've been called worse than guys.
Okay, so bear with me. I'm working on it, you Generation Z's people. All right. But yeah, how do you guys deal with it? We'll start with Elaine and then we'll go Sheridan and Kathy to switch.
I can't wait to hear this interview because I'm dying to know what they're saying. I'm like,
oh, they're talking nothing but trash about you. It's kind of funny. You're just like agreeing along with it. It's hilarious.
I'm like,
no, they're singing your praises. What do you think? They love you.
I'm like, oh God, I can't wait to hear what they're saying. Because they're both so funny. You know, if you're in a bad mood, you just call Sheridan and 2 minutes you're laughing. It's so great. I would say produce yourself. I was running around. I worked my whole life in Texas, professional singer, dancer, actor, voiceover. I moved to New York City. I couldn't get arrested. So I'm taking classes. I'm going to marketing things. I'm doing casting director things. That's when people kept saying, you're really funny. You should try comedy. I wish that I had worked on my own one-woman show. I workshopped it and then I stopped. Because I had this whole bit about being a waitress in a diner. I was acting out my biggest fear, other than being a homeless bag lady. My next biggest fear would be a diner waitress, like Flo. You can kiss my grits, which is before your time. But anyway, so I would say produce yourself. Don't wait. I mean, go audition, learn, have that experience, but it can be soul sucking and heart crushing. And I'm just a big fan of like, save your pennies, learn how to produce things, rent a cheap space, produce yourself, man, produce yourself. Like, I don't know if you know the story behind the Broad City chicks. They, they did all those different levels of improv training at Upright Citizens Brigade. Okay. That's where a lot of the SNL people come from, and Second City people. And they kept auditioning for shows and they weren't getting in, and it was a lot of guy teams. So they said, you know what, we're going to start our own web series because why not? Yeah. And then Amy Poehler, and then now they're like, they both have careers. Like, it's so exciting. So I'm just a fan of like, it's scary, but you are going to learn so much more and you'll get to perform. Unlike, auditioning to be the second person from the left in the back, or, to model hands or whatever, I'm like, produce yourself. If that would be my vote.
That's a great point, because I have that same issue with being an actress, just always going on auditions, not being tall enough, light enough, dark enough, whatever it may be that was out of my control. And plus location wise as well. Like, once we moved to North Carolina, everything kind of changed. At one point we were getting lots of films here, then there wasn't. And now with these wonderful new devices, you can do everything right here in your phone. You can edit yourself. You can do it all. And so I love that you're suggesting that for people, because a lot, even say it was yesterday or a couple of days ago, I was reading this article about someone who knew well enough to not take contracts with these big record labels on that same accord of they're very predatory too. Like, if you do it yourself, you're not sharing thousands of dollars with someone that might have just added one word to your script or, whatever it may be.
Right.
So I'm glad that you brought that up as well. Now, what about you? Right. I was switching it. So Sheridan, sorry.
Yeah. So I would just say, I mean, the thing about stand-up that feels a little bit different maybe than the others is you have to do it constantly, almost daily, to keep those words in your heart and have them roll off your tongue like you've just thought of it. It absolutely has to be fresh. If you miss a beat, then it can be the difference between, a great show and a very mediocre show. So, yes. And just as Elaine is saying, and you're saying, we have this opportunity now, not that long ago, you had to be, find a booker, get on stage. Now you can do it on the internet and especially now, right?
Everybody's home.
And how can you simulate that being in front of an audience? How can you best simulate it? Well, you can do a video of yourself every day, try a new joke out, videotape it, see how, even like, find videos of audiences, and put them on your TV. Get that, because you want that feeling to where you're slightly outside of your head, slightly uncomfortable, not just like you're doing your material in your bathroom mirror, but you've got that real practice, that real, and over and over and over. And I know that the big guys who used to go and perform, because we would always do the Upper West Side Club, Stand Up New York, and Beacon was right next to them. A lot of them would come in and get on the stage and perform at Stand Up, all the clubs around town. It was great. And they'd come and do a set right before they were going to go on at the Beacon or one of the talk shows, because it has to stay fresh. So however you can simulate it is absolutely the key. And now you can really get out there too. It's not just practice virtually. So it's kind of better than ever.
Yeah. So. Okay. What about you, Kathy? Do you remember the question?
I do. I do.
It's been a while. I haven't had three guests on. I don't know if
what was the question again?
No, not like that. I just meant because there's been some time and we've
there's been some time.
Yeah.
Well, one very important thing is to not take it personally. Mm-hmm. So there's got to be a way to treat it kind of professionally.
Yes.
And so if you're able to not take it personally and say, this is not an assault on my character, like a heckler's not an assault on my character. Mm-hmm. A heckler is there because something got sparked. And so it becomes a challenge and an opportunity as opposed to some horrible thing. Because I used to take lots of things personally. I still take some things personally, but I'm learning that doesn't help me. It doesn't help my cause because I don't know what's true. Right? I only know what my reaction is. The second thing I would say is find people like Elaine and Sheridan, a small group of people that you can bounce ideas off of and know that you're going to get honest feedback. Mm-hmm. Because that's also part of the practicing. Because part of creating is that you can't just create it in a vacuum at all. You have to be able to run it by somebody. And so you want to there are just all these different levels of the type of practice you do. And this is another way to just be able to riff with other people and see what comes out. Because one of the things I found working with these guys was that things came out of my mouth that weren't coming out of my mouth at other times. Mm-hmm. And it was funnier.
You guys, seriously, it's really hard when you say things like that.
Yeah.
It's like you're setting me up, but that's okay. I can handle it. As you were saying, things come out of your mouth and what?
Just words, ideas, concepts, but just never, frogs. What else? Dinosaurs? No, I don't know.
No, it's a great point though. Like with getting that feedback, how important is it that it's someone that works in the same industry? Because you guys were kind of taking a chance with building this, sisterhood with amongst each other in the same career. Just ever feeling like maybe the information you're giving or getting and not taking it so personally, like you were saying, but also like knowing who that person is you can trust with that kind of information, that it won't be used against you, or that they're not just getting into your head in a sense to make you not be competition too. You know, I mean, like, I don't know all the manipulative things that people do because I'm not manipulative, but for those that are, you got to learn how to avoid them. And I think it's really commonplace in the entertainment industry because
my
it's like
God.
a hazing thing almost.
Yeah.
It's really
Each
weird.
generation,
Yeah.
or the newer person that finally makes it in, they want to haze the younger person who's just starting. So how about Elaine? Yeah.
Yeah. I had there's a female comedian who lives in New Jersey, and she has gone out of her way several times to come up and just say really horrible things to me right as I was about to go on. I was just like minding my own business, like working on my set before the show, and then she kind of drops a bomb, and so I learned after the first time to like, oh, that's kind of a weird woo, and found out that she does that to lots of female comedians. And then there was another guy. I was just being nice, like Texas friendly nice, which can be easily mistaken, I think, on the East Coast sometimes. Anyway, so I didn't want to be rude to this guy, but he was really, really coming on to me. And then I was like, I have to really focus. And it was like we were in this area where they could see the comics. And anyway, so I'm like practicing what I'm gonna say, and he goes, "You're gonna mess up if you have like." It was so uncalled for. And then he called a mutual friend and told her that he and I were going out. I mean, so just it's not a hotbed of mental wellness. Not that I'm perfect, but I don't go out of my way to try to mess people up.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm very straightforward. No, I'm kidding. I don't try to mess people up.
Yeah, no.
Well, there are a lot of ways to do business, and it's a point of view, it's an attitude, and there are people who want to mess you up, and then there are the people who aren't. I just say don't go to the dry wells. If you're not getting anything back, just stay away. It's sort of like you got to read the room, read the people, right?
Yeah.
So they're the people you want to be around.
Yeah. Or the club, or it's like Friends. Like you get that vibe early on, or someone's a no-show several times, or they're absent, and you're just like, no, thank you. And the same with certain clubs. Like there is just a bad energy to some of them, and you're like, I'm trying, but I'm not going back.
Yeah. Now that's important for people to know that there's, even with clubs, that it could be a bad club. It might not be at all. Yeah. Okay. Now you guys are doing the podcast as well. So let's talk a little bit about podcasting, because I think a lot of people have ventured into this space. It's something that, I'm kind of new to it myself even. So I'm curious how that came about, what's your formula, so to speak, as far as getting a podcast started? We'll start with you, Elaine. I think we would stop saying that because obviously we're starting.
Well, thank you, and I'm sorry about the tech, but you know what? I'm just, as long as we get a good episode, that's cool with me. So I wanted to do a podcast for years, and people kept saying, "Oh, Elaine, you're so funny. You should do it with so and so." And I kept having people approach me, and the growth for me, because I did this dating with business partners, I would be excited about something new with a new person, a new project, a new podcast. And then the person would be giving me red flags, and I'd be like, "Oh, but I already decided I like them. It'll be fine. I'll work it out." And then, that doesn't work, right? Miss fear of conflict. Anyway, so luckily with these people, I kept saying, "You know what? I don't think it's the right time. I don't think it's the right time." And so I'd have a bunch of people approach me, and then Kathy and I were working together, and we just kept laughing every time we worked on her stories, and I would learn so much from her because she's a brainiac. She's brilliant. And so out of that, I was like, I think we're supposed to start recording this and turn this into a podcast. And so it's been this sort of slow evolution. And Sheridan's going to be our very first guest, our first VIP guest.
So this hasn't started yet.
Yeah, so we haven't done it yet, but
we have one
also
season.
done just another
okay.
We've done comedy Zooms, and we've done it where Sheridan and I do a little comedy, and then Sheridan will teach a little bit about adding humor, and we talk about writing and humor and how to add it to speeches, or any kind of thing that you're trying to facilitate. And anyway, so we've done that too. So that's fun.
Elaine has great energy.
Sort of this evolution.
Yes.
And then we realized, oh my God, we're taking a comedic look at coaching and business and personal development, and no one else is doing that. So perfect.
No, I'm love that you guys are doing that. As someone who's gone to a lot of speeches, a lot of live events, and has walked out a lot of them because they're boring or they're just not engaging at all. They're doing the PowerPoints, the TEDx type talk, where, oh, let me tell you, you know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
did it the same thing over and over again. Engaged, pivot, turn, engage, pivot, turn. You got it.
Yeah.
Right, the formula.
Yeah, like it's a very consistent formula to a point where I love when I go to events or speeches and it just seems more improvised, if you will, or at least maybe with the comedy element of it, it's more engaging in a way that you're actually entertained and you're learning at the same time.
That's my favorite thing to do in the whole world.
Lectures.
And it's the connection. Yeah, there's a connection you can make when, like what you're saying is, it being real. Not some scripted, like, in the TEDx you watching it. I mean, they're amazing, but you watching that, you see the format and like you said, the 3.2, all the terminology. It's great. But you want that connection, and that's how you make magic in that moment is to have that connection. Not some, scripted thing where it's going to be obvious. And, there are people who do 2-day seminars and none of it is scripted. It's Elaine. None of it's scripted, and that really is where the magic comes from, and the trust and the relaxing. So I hear you. Especially now, we have short attention spans, and we're busy.
I mean, I don't want to blame it on TikTok making the attention spans shorter, but
can you imagine a TikTok podcast? Wow.
Yeah, it was funny. I actually was offered a partnership with TikTok, and I was supposed to do all these videos with it. Wait for it. And I was just like, I can't do it in 15 seconds. Like, I'm a talker. Like, I can't do it in 15 seconds. Like, I kept trying and just I got let go.
I mean, when I'm charging my battery on my phone and goes below 100%, I start panicking. So I think 15 seconds would be a problem. And the other thing I want to say is we do have a season out of our podcast.
Yeah, okay, because
we do have one season out that's available on your wherever you get your podcast. That was totally natural and not fake. And it's just, so we decided we wanted to have, a guest, and we thought, who would be the best guest to have first? And it's Sheridan. So we're very excited about doing it.
I can't wait.
Yeah. I'm excited. So what can people expect from your podcast? What should they learn from it? What makes your podcast so much different than all the other podcasts that are out there?
The rapport, which is great. and the fact that what we're doing is we're kind of letting you know the how to do these things. What does it actually look like when you're learning something or when you're dealing with a situation? Trying to think of some examples. She can't hear me, so I'm trying to make some up. No, but we just laugh about some of the things that happen, and the fact that just by making sometimes a very tiny shift, and maybe even using a little bit of humor, it can change completely. You might be able to stay in your job even if you just make one small shift. Based on, you heard somebody say something. Sometimes you just clarify and say, I'm not sure. I don't know if I heard you correctly. Or even just repeating something back to somebody, because people say outrageous things.
Yes.
So if you just say, I'm sorry, did I hear you correctly? Did you just tell me that my pants were too long? And then sometimes when you say that out loud, they laugh. Like there was a guy who had a thing about 3/4 sleeves. And he was like, I can't believe you're wearing 3/4 sleeves. And I'm like, I can't believe you're even asking me about 3/4 sleeves, because how does that matter in all that's going on in the world today?
Yeah, absolutely. How about, Elaine, we'll talk to you about it. No, wait, Sheridan, you're not part of it. You're the guest, so never mind. I was getting ready to ask you. I was like, wait, I forgot the order now myself. But so with you guys are also doing the classes, the coaching. So tell a little bit about that. What can people expect from your coaching? Like it's different from your podcast, but in what way? We'll start with you, Elaine.
Me. Okay.
Yeah.
So I help people tell the story of their business or their nonprofit. And I help them get comfortable on camera because most people are afraid of speaking live, but they're even more afraid of how they look on camera. And so I teach people about angle and lighting and all the outside stuff, but then we do inside stuff too, because most people have a visibility block. Almost everybody I know, some teacher told them they couldn't sing, or everybody has like they got bullied by another sibling or somebody at school. And so usually we have to kind of break through some inner barriers that have people who, have amazing gifts to share, but they're not sharing them. So I help people do the inside and the outside work.
Okay. So what part do you do with that, Kathy? Because you guys do that together, right? The coaching?
Sometimes.
Okay.
In fact, that's what we're going to do. Surprise, Sheridan. We're going to coach you. No, we don't know if we're going to do that yet. But I'll tell you, the big thing that for my approach is listening is a big. It's allowing people to have a place where they can say what they need to say and just get it off their chest, because people generally know eventually what it is they want and how they want to proceed and what they want to do.
Yeah.
They just need to be given the space and time to say it out loud. Like, it wouldn't work on TikTok, but it would work if you have someone. So even though I'm talking a lot now, generally, if I'm coaching someone, I'm listening a lot and asking for more, want to hear more, and they will get an aha 90% of the time because it's in there somewhere. I'm just giving them the space to bring it out. And the thing that Elaine brings, because I worked with her, she coached me to be on camera. She brings this level of energy and enthusiasm that you just don't find anywhere. I mean, it's really remarkable. You feel like she's got your back and you feel inspired to create.
Yeah. Now, what's one of your favorite tips that she gave you?
Well, it wasn't, I'm not following it now, was to have my thing up a little bit like this so you can't see all my chins. So but her thing was to tell my story and to really ask me questions about my story. And so to ask again and again and again, because she could see that I was on the surface and more needed to be dug out. And that inside work really made a difference for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's frozen. So I'm just hopefully she'll be back. So we went to 3, and maybe when she comes back, she can hear all of us. That could be magic that's happening right now. But while she's out, I'll go ahead and I'll show up some of the comments, because now I can show them without, I guess now it's cutting me off. Leave it up to me to be the one. There. Now I'm all in. Okay. So Friday Williams said that was cool. Did the other ones. Goldie Bell. That's what I was kissing at the screen for, because she said I could do it.
Oh,
everybody's got to have a fan club, and my fan club is all related to me and on my payroll. No, I'm kidding. Don't send me an invoice. I'm just kidding. Yeah, but so my cousin also was like, also beneficial to diffuse challenging workplaces and dynamics. The different information you guys were giving earlier about asking questions again. What did you say? Say that again. Repeat it back to them. Yeah, and then she also mentions being watchable is a learned technique, great lesson area. So yeah. And then LOL at Kathy for when you were talking earlier too, which is to be expected, because that was pretty funny. And so what was one of your best tips? I know you were saying about making sure hiding the chins, but then, like, seriously, what was one of her tips that you would give out?
It really, it was,
a lot of people need.
For me, I love it. It was the one-on-one attention that she gave me. And it was actually her doing for me what I do for other people, which is just really listening and then asking more questions to get me to the part of the story. Because I think what can happen is, I know it's all right, get the violins out. I was teased as a child, and but I was, and it was awful, and I took it personally, And so I would give you this kind of glossy version, or I would have almost like characters. I wasn't me. And when I'm not me, it's super boring. You don't bother. And she just could see in me that there was more to be said and more to talk about. And I think that's why we get along so well in terms of our podcast and everything else, because she sees me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's important. I think a lot of women feel invisible in the workplace or at home or different places altogether. And just to really make sure that we use our voice and encourage it amongst each other. I read an article today about Journey Smollett, who was, she's an actress. She was in the movie Underground. She's done tons of films. Like she got her SAG card at 3. She's been working her whole life in the entertainment industry. She's back. Yeah, but she's there she is. Let's see. I'm bringing her back, Elaine. Okay. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Wait, can you hear Kathy too?
Can you hear me? What happened?
I can hear you.
Oh, yay!
How was it? How was it out there? What did you see? What did you
so
see?
funny. I kept watching you guys going. And I was like, I hope what they're saying is good. And then
no, you're like, gonna.
And then
it's been
because all I can hear is Camille. So I'm like, well, they're really saying funny things because Camille's laughing. Camille's not laughing with me. Oh God, wouldn't it be?
Elaine,
I'm not the funny one anyway.
We have a surprise for you. You're gonna dub all of that part.
So you're saying she's an editor?
Oh, she is an editor.
Yeah.
Not a great one though. But
no,
I'm so excited
same.
to hear you guys.
Yay!
I know it's fun. Yay!
The girl part really happened.
So cool. And I love I love
the great thing about Elaine is that I just want to say that when we've worked together and she's coached me and we've done I've joined her on some of her coaching sessions where we've helped people with comedy, but she can remember something you said 5 years ago. And so she really like connects the dots if you're going through something.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just got this like, it's so helpful. You're like, oh my God, she you know, because it just brings it together in a way that really, really works. And to second Kathy's, you know, her energy is unparalleled. So if you join one of her shows, you're just like, well, I'll say this, I'll say that. And, you know, it's the magic is great. And same with Kathy. Kathy's super smart and funny. And like our first writing session ever, I was talking about a dog bringing me a drink. And she's like, oh, so you'll take a service dog and make it a full service dog. And I'm like, oh my God, that was brilliant. She does not do stand up yet.
Yeah.
My God. So yeah, these are two amazing women.
Fun.
Oh, that's
And it's just such a gift. It's just such a gift to come together with girlfriends where we're not competing.
Right.
We're not, you know, I can say I'm a little bit jealous of you. And that's one thing I try to do with the few friends I do have in comedy was, you know, to be able to say, you know what, I'm really happy for you. And I'm 3.5% jealous.
Yeah.
You know, just being able to say that, then you can release it. You know, I'm human.
No,
Yeah.
we all are. And plus we've been groomed our whole lives to be that way too, where there's not that sisterhood that's bred with us like there are with guys where it's teamwork and their boys code and so on. Girls, it's like we're all competing from the same guy or this, that, and the other. And it's ridiculous and it's stupid and we need to end it. So on that note, I want to make sure because it's 7 o'clock already almost. Well, it's almost 7 o'clock. It goes fast. Man. It goes fast. Especially when you have 3 ladies with you and trying to talk and one of them can't hear at all. So you're like,
I was like, this is the future, a postcard from my future when I can't hear shit.
You got an example. No, it'll be fine. Well, so I have to ask, what do you guys have coming up? And is there anything that we can join you guys virtually? So I want to make sure we know about it as well. So share.
Okay, cool. Well, I know we're going to be doing the Sheridan first guest episode very soon. So we'll let you know when that drops for sure. And I want to talk about doing a comedy Zoom in September. But we have to get together, but we would love to have you. It would be so fun.
Yeah, I would love to watch. I love comedy. I miss comedy clubs so much. And I told Elaine when we met, because we met through a networking event, well, by way of a networking event. Anyway, I told her I wanted to do a week of just comedians, and I could not get a single female woman. I don't know which term people like now, but anyway, I couldn't get a lady comedian to save my life, to even reply, better yet, show up. So
what about Wanda?
She's your cousin, for God's sake.
You would think I could just call cousin. I don't know, but
we
yeah,
can
her
pretend
number's
to be
not
your
listed.
agents. We can be like, hey, yo.
Oh, yes.
But so I'm so grateful that to get this opportunity to talk to all of you comedians, but I also want to make sure whatever you guys have coming up that we support back, because I know what it's like being a woman in this industry. We're not. Yeah. Oh, that was the thing we were doing before you got cut out, was with Journey Smollett. She made a point of saying she was in this TV show called The Underground, where the male actor in that show was making more money than her, even though she had a long list of career and even working in Marvel movie, like amazing career she's had, and not feeling strength in her voice to even speak up for more money, to ask for it, just happy to be at the table type of thing. And I think that's something that women are groomed to think that way, that there can only be one woman that makes it past the glass ceiling or whatever. So I love that you guys are proving all of that wrong and helping other women and men find their voice to be able to speak up for themselves, have that courage, and even join us on camera, because now they're confident enough for it. So I just want to make sure Kathy Elaine, so now Sheridan, and then Kathy, share what you guys have coming up so we can make sure we support you guys back.
So I'm just on their podcast. I'm working on some more material. I'm doing some Bay Area clubs. I don't know, nothing in person right now.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a work in progress, and I'm having a blast. So
Bay Area. So she's in Bay Area, California. So if you're in the Bay Area, well, it's virtual, so we could see it anywhere, right?
Yeah. So yeah, some things coming up.
Well, share the links.
And so we dropped Mike dropped. That didn't go well. We dropped our podcast, Still Human, with Kathy and Elaine. And you can go to your favorite web producer podcaster thingy and listen. We have 5 episodes that are already out there. So let us know what you think. And we would love to hear from you. And thank you.
Yay.
And thank you, Camille.
Yeah, thanks. This is really fun.
You rock.
You do.
Well, make sure you share, like, and send your friends my way, because I'm always looking for fun. Yes, especially women. Oh my gosh, getting women in general is very difficult. I don't know why. Men they're real easy to, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a woman. They're just like, yeah, I want to be on your show. Let's get on your show. Women, they don't even show up sometimes.
I'll send you some people, sweetheart.
Oh yeah,
I've got some good
Elaine. Yeah, Elaine's your man. Oh shoot, that's not what I meant.
Well, no, somebody said it in the comments too. I'm not the only one that keeps saying guys. Wait, Friday Williams. Yeah. Oh, I keep forgetting that covers up your face. Friday Williams, Camille. I also have a habit of saying guys too. We're working on it. They need to have like a fun thing to say. Yeah. All right. Well, Friday also says, thank you, Camille, Kathy, Sheridan, and Elaine. She enjoyed it. So yes, women supporting women and friends. Rhonda also said, I had fun, ladies. I have a production call now. Smooches. She is a busy woman. I appreciate every time she watches. She loves my Twitter.
Oh, yeah. Yay.
Yeah, I was like, I always forget to promote myself at the end of the show. So I was like, oh, I won't forget because I'm wearing it. So yeah. All right. Well, again, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you guys have a good rest of your week, and make sure you post on my page or whatever your links.
Yes, we'll put our websites and stuff. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Camille.
Bye.
Hey guys.
Thank you.
Take a minute to remove you guys all one by one. Goodbye. Hello. No, he does say goodbye.
Thank you. I wore pink. We match.
Yay! My favorite color. All right. Well, bye, Elaine. Thanks for the introductions and bringing all your friends on. That was fun.
Thank you. It was fun.
All right. Well, you have a good rest of your day, and I'm glad you can.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye. fun times. I had a great time. I hope you guys did too. And the fun doesn't stop now. No, there's more. You guys can check out my podcast now. I'm now available on all platforms that offer podcasts. That's iHeartRadio, Apple, Google, Spotify, Anchor. So you can find me at those different places, the E-Spot with Camille, or just search for Camille Cower. You can find me on YouTube, so follow me there. Please subscribe, like, share, and same with Facebook if you're not on, because I'm simulcasting. I can never say this word. I don't know what the word is. Simulcasting? Yeah. I'm live on YouTube and Facebook, so feel free, if you're not following me on one, subscribe to the other. Let's stay in contact. Let's make sure we're sharing, liking, and thank you so much for watching. All of those of you in the comments, I really appreciate you guys watching. And please listen to my podcast. Would love some 5-star reviews. If you like it, please do that as well. It helps me. It helps my Google numbers. So, the powers that be will help me out more. I appreciate it because then it's a whole algorithm thing, right? It's a numbers game. It's a popularity game. The more numbers, the greater chance that more people will see my show, watch my show, and I will have the energy to keep doing my show. Because it's, when you don't see any comments, when you don't see any likes or shares or whatever, you kind of feel like, am I just doing this for myself? Is anybody interested? Of course, then I see the numbers after the fact, because while I'm doing this, I don't know how many people are watching. I don't know how many comments I'm getting. Like, I have no clue. And it's not until after the show. So I really appreciate it. Commenting and sharing, subscribing. I love it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And if you have any feedback you would like to give me, please feel free. Email, message. You can go to my website, CamilleCower.com. You can contact me through that. There's a contact. If you know someone that I should interview or would like to be a guest, or even more, if you would like to be a sponsor, you can check it out all there on my website. I'm actually getting ready to start offering advertising, so you can do a commercial, all of that fun stuff during the E-Spot. If you want to sponsor it, beginning, end, middle, it's up to you. What's in your budget? Those options are going to be available. So check out my website for further details. And I appreciate it. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Friday. You make me think of Friday. And tomorrow's Friday. Speaking of that, we'll have Indescribable. It's spelled really weird on Instagram. She's gonna be my guest tomorrow. We're gonna have so much fun. She does all the parodies and she's in a band. She's hilarious. She was my guest when I was on radio. Super funny lady. Can't wait for you guys to meet her. And you guys have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow, 6 o'clock.